The morning after Christmas, in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in Boulder, Colorado, a mother woke up, walked downstairs, and found a note, 3 pages, handwritten, demanding money. Her daughter was gone, or so she thought, because 6 hours later, inside the same house, behind a latched door in the basement, police found the body of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey. She had never left. Music swells slightly, then cuts to silence. She was 6 years old, and to this day, no one has been convicted of her murder. This is her story. JonBenét Patricia Ramsey, born August 6, 1990. The youngest child of John and Patsy Ramsey, a wealthy, well-connected family living in a red brick Tudor home on 15th Street in Boulder, Colorado. Her father, John, was the CEO of a computer access company called Access Graphics, a self-made man, successful, respected. Her mother, Patsy, was a former Miss West Virginia, graceful, charismatic, and deeply devoted to her daughter. JonBenét was the kind of child people noticed. Bright eyes, radiant smile. She had already won multiple child beauty pageants by the time she was 5. The titles, the costumes, the performances. To those who loved her, she was joy in human form. She had an older brother, Burke, 9 years old at the time. From the outside, the Ramseys were the picture of the American dream. But Christmas night, 1996, shattered everything. December 25th, 1996, Christmas night. The Ramseys had spent the evening at a holiday party hosted by their friends, the Whites. It was warm, festive, normal. They returned home sometime after 9 p.m. JonBenét had fallen asleep in the car. John carried her inside. Patsy put her straight to bed. Burke was still awake. The house went quiet. And then, the next morning arrived, December 26th, 5:30 a.m. Patsy Ramsey came downstairs first, and there, on the spiral staircase, was a note, 3 pages long, handwritten in black ink, demanding $118,000 for the safe return of her daughter. Patsy screamed. She ran upstairs, checked JonBenét's room. The bed was empty. Yeah, that note has been analyzed, debated, and dissected for nearly 3 decades. And the more you read it, the stranger it gets. The amount demanded, like $118,000, was peculiarly specific. Not a round number, not $1 million, $118,000, almost exactly matching John Ramsey's Christmas bonus that year. Whoever wrote this knew the family's finances. The note warned Patsy not to contact the FBI, not to call the police, to wait for a phone call between 8 and 10 a.m. It referred to John by name. It called itself the work of a small foreign faction. But here's what stops you cold. The pen used to write the note was found in the Ramsey home. The notepad it was written on was also from inside the house. And forensic analysis would later confirm the note was written on site, meaning the author sat down inside that home, drafted it, possibly going through at least 2 practice attempts, and left it behind. This wasn't brought from the outside. The note was composed inside the house. Patsy called 911 at 5:52 a.m. In a fraction of a minute, the call disconnected, but the line stayed open. And what was captured on that recording, after the call supposedly ended, would later become a source of intense scrutiny. Voices, possibly multiple, a child's voice, a male voice, possibly John's, possibly Burke's. The FBI would analyze it for years. Police arrived quickly, and this is where the investigation began to unravel. Friends, neighbors, a pastor, they were all allowed inside the home. People were walking through the kitchen, through the hallways, through the same spaces that should have been treated as a crime scene the moment that note was found. Evidence that might have existed may have been walked over, touched, contaminated, or destroyed, not out of malice, but out of chaos. Hours passed. 8 a.m. came and went. No phone call from the kidnapper. 9 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, nothing. The silence was deafening. At approximately 1 p.m., a detective asked John Ramsey and a family friend to search the house for anything unusual. John went to the basement. He opened the door to a small, windowless room, sometimes called the wine cellar, a space the family rarely used. And there she was, JonBenét. Her wrists were bound above her head. There was tape over her mouth. A cord tied around her neck, what investigators would later identify as a garrote, a deliberate constructed instrument of strangulation. John tore the tape from her lips. He carried her upstairs. In doing so, though no one can blame a father in that moment, he unknowingly compromised the crime scene even further. The medical examiner's report would later conclude that JonBenét Ramsey had been strangled. She also suffered a severe skull fracture, a blow to the head that could have, on its own, been fatal. She had been dead for several hours by the time she was found. She never left the house. What followed was one of the most chaotic, most criticized, and most controversial criminal investigations in American history. The parents. Suspicion fell almost immediately on John and Patsy Ramsey, the ransom note written inside the house, no signs of forced entry, the specific knowledge of John's bonus, the inconsistencies in early statements, the contamination of the scene. Boulder police, in their early investigation, quietly and then not so quietly, treated the parents as prime suspects. The media amplified it. The court of public opinion had already delivered its verdict. John and Patsy maintained their innocence, absolutely, completely, for the rest of their lives. Patsy Ramsey died of ovarian cancer in June 2006. She never saw justice for her daughter. She never saw her name fully cleared. In 2008, 2 years after Patsy's death, the Boulder District Attorney's Office sent a letter to the Ramsey family formally stating that new DNA evidence had exonerated both parents. That letter came too late for Patsy, the brother. Burke Ramsey was 9 years old the night his sister died. Over the years, theories emerged pointing toward Burke, a child unable to fully understand the consequence of an act of violence that may have escalated beyond his comprehension. Burke has always denied any involvement. He later sued CBS News for a documentary that implicated him, and he won a significant settlement. The network essentially backed down. No charges have ever been filed against Burke Ramsey, the intruder. And then there is the third theory, the one the DNA points to. In 2008, advanced DNA testing on JonBenét's clothing revealed the presence of an unknown male's genetic material, not matching anyone in the Ramsey family, not matching any suspect ever brought forward, an unknown person. Was there someone else in that house on Christmas night? Had someone entered during the party earlier in the season, hidden, waited? In 2023, investigators announced they were pursuing new DNA technology, investigative genetic genealogy, the same method used to identify the Golden State Killer, to try to match that unknown profile to a person. As of now, that person has not been publicly identified. Nearly 30 years have passed since the morning Patsy Ramsey found that note on the staircase. A generation of true crime readers, investigators, journalists, and armchair detectives have pored over every detail, every photograph, every transcript, every fiber of evidence, and yet no arrest, no conviction, no answer. JonBenét Ramsey was 6 years old. She was loved. She deserved better, not just in life, but in death. She deserved justice. And somewhere out there, in a DNA profile, in an old memory, in a piece of evidence not yet fully understood, the truth may still exist. It has not been found. Not yet. So I want to hear from you. After everything, the note, the DNA, the contaminated scene, the years of silence, where does your instinct take you? An intruder who knew too much? Someone inside those walls? Or something we haven't even considered yet? Leave your theory in the comments. I read every single one. And if stories like this stay with you long after you've stopped watching, subscribe, because I'm not done. There are cases out there that deserve a voice. JonBenét Ramsey is one of them, one of